All right, man, peace. So, checking out these different things that's been going on recently, especially about 2 weeks ago, the wildfires that was happening in Canada had reached the northeast cities, especially New York City, as being one of the worst AQIs that was recorded for the last 60 to 70 years. And they already said that New York City's AQI, no one has ever had to deal with this since the 1960s. And so while we're going over these different things that's going on around the world in the country, a lot of different things that's happening after the pandemic, such conversations like climate change and global warming as being the frontal part of what's going on in this world. We never deny those who have an understanding with the Most High, could be very spiritual, religious, or whatever have you. These are the last days. And especially these different things that's warning besides the eye, things to pay attention to, especially with something as prevalent as this wildfire going on in the United States. And especially things that's happening around the world, such as seeing places like countries involved in the UK where they can't even survive a heat wave, and how many places in there have to suffer with wildfires because of the extreme temperatures. But my reason of this video today is very funny, the narratives that would be pushed behind these wildfires, where there's been certain reports where they said that these wildfires actually have a low health risk, but it still should be taken seriously. But then how they try to tie it down with Karina as being one of those different things that we should pay attention to because it leaves you at risk for it. Now, I'm not going to give my subjective opinion on it, but I definitely do think this should come in question, especially if there is a risk of another wildfire. And I mean, the haze coming from the wildfire coming back to New York City or other Northeast cities again. With that being said, one of the different things that I had started to see, especially with the articles, is how they denoted this and said it verbatim in these articles. Now, my thing about it is this: if there was low health risk, what was the probability of there being a Karina factor into this? This is all just a lie, or is this serious? That being said, there was reports from 2020 and 2021 denoting the fact of the matter that any inhaled smoke from the wildfire can put you at increased risk of Karina. So let's check this out, y'all. Even healthy adults are at risk from the Canadian wildfire smoke, experts. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just want to go over this with you just to check this out for myself. Even fit and healthy adults would be wise to stay inside and take it easy, and plumes of wildfire smoke choke the air with an eerie orange haze in the New York City area, according to experts. Thick clouds wafting down from Quebec are expected to remain over the city for days, releasing countless dangerous particles in the air, doctors say. While children, the elderly, pregnant women, and those with respiratory issues should especially heed Mayor Eric Adams' advice and remain indoors Wednesday, others would be wise to follow suit, Dr. Kenneth Speff told the Post. While the risk is low for an otherwise healthy person, it's not nothing. There's real risk, said Speff, who is the chief of occupational and environmental medicine at Northwell Health in New Hyde Park. It doesn't take that much to have mild symptoms: eye irritation, throat irritation. That's sort of the minimal event of symptoms that can arise in these settings, he said. And certainly warrants being cautious and not spending, extended periods outdoors if it could be helped, and certainly avoiding things that are exertional in nature while outdoors. Now, here we definitely seen that they're going to be talking about the air quality index. They said 342. When I had done my research, just looking at Google Maps, it actually said more than that. Certain areas in New York City actually exceeded into going into 400 above the normal amount it is. Now, taking into this, you have the idea of not only the AQI being the way that it is from the orange haze, it's already a city that suffers with a lot of adults and children that have horrible, horrible asthma rates if you live in particular sections of New York City or northeastern cities where there is a large volume of automobile traffic. And this is very prevalent in the borough of the Bronx, where there's a lot of reports of asthma rates because of the high volume of traffic, such as places where there is the Cross Bronx Expressway as one of the factors. So it says right here, New York's air was more polluted than any other major world city Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon when it recorded an astonishingly high hazardous air quality index of 342 as more than 100 wildfires declared out of control by officials burned in the Canadian province north of the state. This is not Karina, where you had a virus, where you had a relatively large particle in the air compared to some of the gases we're talking about, Speff said, explaining how healthy people could become ill even if wearing an N95 mask, which he recommends. Due to the unprecedented air quality in New York, we've made the difficult decision to cancel opening night. The health of our staff and communities we serve is our first priority. But with that being said, you see how it already says that in that article, just to bring this to your attention. And also one of these different things that I had saw from this article or the Twitter post from Bloomberg that says already right here, the notes exactly about how Karina plays a factor into this. Health experts warn that exposure to wildfire smoke increases the risk of catching Karina-19 and worsens the impacts for people who already have or particularly susceptible to the virus. Now, funny thing about this is this. Wasn't it said by the WHO organization that determined that Karina is officially over, that the pandemic is officially over? Yet at the same time, it's been reported in the last couple of weeks, a new variant has been found to be transmissible in certain parts of the world. Now, my thing about it is this. First and foremost, be very careful. Because obviously the whole running amok is climate change, as well as talking about global warming, and them keep talking about these reports of these new variants that's coming to the woodworks. So I wouldn't say don't pay attention to what's coming up, especially with the news of these airborne diseases and all these ailments that's going on in society. Yet at the same time, do you think, as I might suspect, that something like the wildfires is a crux to them bringing up the issue about Karina-19 in order to get people involved and scared and have a fear-mongering campaign of what's to come next? I have no idea. It's just something I'm putting out on the table. Give me your thoughts in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.